They say parenting is the toughest job you'll ever love, but that doesn't mean you're going to love every single minute of it. Here to guide us through some of the tougher moments, parenting expert and author of Get the Behavior You Want Without Being the Parent You Hate, Dr. Deborah Gilboa joins us once again. And we're going to talk about kids and technology, because parents are often concerned about the amount of time kids spend with their faces buried in those phones and tablets. We're guilty too.
Oh yeah, but I was just going to say, where are they getting it? A lot of times from mom and dad.
We worry about it when we look up from our phones and see them in there.
But kids, the thing that's unique about kids is their brains are still developing, and apparently something good has been happening when it comes to kids and technology, Dr. G. Is this too good to be true, or is there something actually good coming from this?
There are some good things coming from it. I mean, nothing is entirely good or bad, I think, but in this case, we can be really encouraged. So in the 1960s at Stanford University, they did a study with preschoolers and wanted to know, could they put off something good? Could they delay their gratification? They put marshmallow in front of them and said, hey, you could have a marshmallow now, or if you wait until I come back into the room, you could have two. And they found that a lot of the kids tried to wait, but only about a third of them were able to really put it off. And those kids, until they came back and get two, and those kids, when they followed them out, they had a lot of success as adults. That perseverance, that ability to delay gratification.
So-called delayed gratification.
Right.
This is a really famous psychology benchmark test. I think people often refer to it. It's the Stanford marshmallow test.
Right,
and
so they've been doing it again.
Can you put off that gratification? But I think the surprising thing is that those kids back then, the third of them who were able to wait for 20 minutes, those ones did much better. But I think the common conception now is that kids are so instant gratification oriented that kids would do worse today. But apparently they're doing better.
Kids are worse today, right? We think that, but it turns out not to be true. In the 1980s, they waited a minute longer. In 2012, they could wait 2 minutes longer. Some of the things that we're doing as a society and as parents are helping kids see that if you wait longer, good things can happen, and they're learning those skills. And we do think that technology, the researchers who did this really felt that technology was not just associated, but maybe causal for some of those reasons that kids are putting.
How would that be?
A lot of the things that kids are asked to do has to do with trying to get to the next level. And when you fail in a game, just for example, it pushes you back, and then you have to try again. And so they are learning some perseverance. They are learning some global issues. Kids are more globally connected than they've ever been, and so they're seeing a bigger picture perhaps than they were. Also, parenting has changed from a more authoritarian to a more maybe authoritative method overall societally. And so some of those things are helping kids, but you know, also, I have a kid who would be like, there's a marshmallow now, I'm taking that before my brothers get to it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that that kid is bad, but we do know that kids who know how to delay gratification have some skills that they need, and there are ways that we can teach that to kids. And I think that, so if you're thinking, well, my kid would totally grab the marshmallow and run, don't feel like that's necessarily a bad thing, but think about, am I doing anything to teach them some perseverance? Am I giving them any skills? Am I saying, for example, yeah, you could have 15 minutes of screen time now, but if you sit down and do some summer reading, you could have a half an hour later. So use the screens to get them to wait for the second marshmallow.
This is not giving clearance to parents to say, oh, here's your tablet, play as long as you want.
I'll see you in September.
Yeah, because there's this marshmallow test study, and it seems like kids are getting a little more patient with eating the marshmallows. This is not that.
Right. This isn't saying all screens are good all the time. You know, we have to look at screens like we look at nutrition. If my kid wanted to sit down and eat from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m., even if all he was eating was broccoli, I would say get up from the table. We need balance in everything. So no matter how good something is for us, even if it's all good, and we know that not all screens are good and not all games they can play are good, you still need moderation. You still need balance.
And I think as a parent, you really need to monitor the content because, like you said, not all apps are created equal. Nope. I think in this study, they felt that using screen time improved their abstract thought and helped with them attention control, and that's why it may have allowed them to wait longer. But if you're just doing like a really violent, disruptive app that's not helping you stimulate your brain and not contributing to that, you can't just couch it under the study that, oh, I read this one thing, that it might actually help you.
Totally, and so even if you build perseverance with it, if you're also doing a ton of damage with it, even if it does build perseverance, it doesn't really, on balance, it's not the right thing to do. So yeah, it's not fire and forget screen time, like go, have fun. We can't do that. We're not off the hook that much.